Hello, everyone. I'm Amna Asim, and I'm very excited to welcome you today to Pakistan's journey to digital. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm sure I may have worked with quite a few of you in the audience today, but to those that don't know me, I'm an agency strategist for Google in Pakistan. I work with e-commerce clients to help them bring their businesses online. Today, we have a very packed but exciting agenda for you, so I hope you're as excited to get started as we are. Before we begin, though, I'd like to take a moment to thank all our partners for this event. Firstly, this would not have been possible without Kantar, who were instrumental to this research. I'd also like to thank our partners at Indus Valley Capital, Daraz, BeechTree, Extreme Commerce, and i2i for helping us bring this event to life. So before we begin, let's quickly take you through the agenda and introduce you to our speakers who will be sharing their wealth of expertise with you today. First, we'll have Leah Westwood from Kantar, who will help us understand Pakistan's digital penetration and explore who the internet users are. Then, we'll hear about Pakistan's digital story from renowned local expert Atif Awan, who will share more on Pakistan's journey to digital, where we have come from, where we are, and what's next. We'll then welcome James Lang to take us through the roles that apps play in Pakistani lives, followed then by Faraz Azhar, who will be taking us on a journey of the rising e-commerce boom for Pakistani businesses. Last, but definitely not least, we'll hear from Muhammad Amar Hassan, the CMO of Daraz, and Kehkashan Raza, the CEO of BeechTree, about how e-commerce has revolutionized businesses and how adapting in this pandemic has resulted into business growth. So let me start by taking you through the study that was done with Kantar, beginning with why we focused on this research and why we even thought there was a need for a study like this. So, firstly, we realized that there was no study that was done so far in Pakistan that validated its growing internet penetration. We wanted to add credibility to the growth in Pakistan's internet users and their internet usage, which is what we covered in stage one of this study. Additionally, there wasn't a real understanding on how Pakistanis' attitudes and behaviors towards the internet had changed over the last couple of years, and how this impacted e commerce, which is what we focused on in stage two of the study. I also want to very briefly call out the timing of the fieldwork, particularly as we've unfortunately seen a recent resurgence of COVID-19 in Pakistan. The fieldwork was all conducted in early 2021, and in particular, stage two was wrapped up by the end of March. So, just before we started seeing COVID cases rising again in Pakistan. And with that, I'll hand you over to Leah Westwood to take you into a deep dive of the findings of this research. Over to you, Leah.
Thank you, Amna. Hi, I'm Leah Westwood from Kantar Insights Australia, based in Sydney. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you and share with you some fascinating insights that we've found about Pakistan's journey to digital. The big question we set out to answer in our stage one research: what is internet penetration in Pakistan? To give some background, penetration numbers vary considerably by different government bodies and agencies. From previous Kantar research, we know that penetration was at 22% in 2016. In 2017, it rose to 24%. So the real question is, how much has it risen again? We set out to answer that question, and our finding is that in 2021, 54% of Pakistan is connected to the internet. That is, they have used the internet within the past month. Looking across the country, we can see that this internet usage changes slightly depending on when we're looking at urban or rural areas. Those in top three metros and in any urban area are significantly more likely to be connected to the internet compared to those in rural areas. 3/4 of those in the top three metros are connected to the internet, compared to only half of those in rural areas. Looking also into age and gender, we can see that males and Gen Z are more likely to be connected to the internet, as well as those who are employed. Young males, we know, are early adopters. Young males often access the internet more than any other group and often first as well. This could be because they're really keen to try new things, they want to be up to date, or maybe they're required to use the internet for education or work. But one thing is for sure, if brands are targeting under 35s, the internet is now a great place to engage them. In addition to the 54% of Pakistanis who access the internet, we also found that 46% of all Pakistan access the internet every day. This shows us that Pakistan is a nation of heavy internet users. Once they take that first step to connect, they are all in. Looking just at the internet users here, we found that 85% of Pakistani internet users access the internet every day. This is a staggering statistic. Pakistan is a nation of heavy internet users, and there truly is no holding them back. Once they are connected, they appear to see the benefits of the internet and have promptly embraced the internet in their everyday lives. This number increases again among males and those that are employed, with 89% of both males and employed connecting every day. However, this nation of heavy internet users might only have a shallow understanding of the true potential of the internet. Half of those who use the internet don't see a need to access it more often than they currently do. We found that Pakistanis are heavy users of communication and social media, but may still be lacking in depth in their internet usage beyond this functional communication. There is room for significant growth here. Education and deepening users' knowledge could have a big impact, increasing awareness of how the internet could be of benefit to them, both personally, highlighting use cases, providing real-life everyday examples, and also professionally. Programs like Grow with Google could play an integral role in assisting users to deepen their understanding of the internet and understanding how to apply these in personal and business settings. Also worth calling out that in addition to this staggering daily usage, we also found that COVID lockdowns resulted in another increase of daily internet usage in urban locations. An additional 10% of internet daily users have accessed in comparison to before lockdowns. It's not known whether this will be lasting behaviour change or simply more of a response to the lockdowns and potentially the COVID situation at the time fieldwork was conducted. But connecting more frequently does suggest users are jumping online for a reason. It's worth acknowledging there's still these push and pull factors at play that can impact internet use. Things like poor internet connections, device access, or even a lack of need after returning to face-to-face workplaces and schooling. Once these barriers have been addressed or minimised, we'll start seeing more sustainable increases in usage. But that's not to say this isn't a great starting point, especially as a response to our new normal. And while looking into lasting increases in usage, we also wanted to take a step back to look at the bigger picture in terms of future growth and increasing internet penetration. Almost half of Pakistan's population are not yet connected. We found that the first step is the hardest. That is, getting users to connect for the first time. And unlocking this is the key to Pakistan's future growth. 96% of Pakistanis who are familiar with the internet. That is, 96% have heard about the internet before, even if they haven't used it. This awareness is higher among those in the top 3 metros at 99%, and even in urban locations at 98%. So majority of Pakistan know what the internet is. Therefore, there must be another reason why there aren't more connecting. It is clear that familiarity with the internet doesn't translate well into internet usage. We found that of the 96% who are familiar, only 56% of them convert into users, with 54% of Pakistan using the internet. This is also significantly lower in rural areas. This suggests that there are roadblocks for users to progress through each stage of this, and raises the question, how can these roadblocks be alleviated? How can these barriers help to get more people online? Why are they there? Why are those familiar with the internet not using it? We set out to find more. What we found is that non-users in Pakistan face two key barriers, each of which have ample opportunity. Firstly, majority of non-internet users know about the internet, but simply don't have the means to access it because they don't have an internet-enabled device. The second key barrier is familiarity. Though Pakistan is familiar with the internet as a concept, it is a surface level understanding. Non-internet users don't fully understand the potential of the internet or what it could offer them. Strategies to address these barriers would result in increased internet penetration into Pakistan's future. Interestingly, the majority of non-internet users do own or have access to a basic mobile phone, just not a smartphone or another internet-enabled device. There is a clear opportunity here in partnerships with telcos and retailers, running campaigns and promotions to target this group. We incentivize non-users to upgrade their basic mobile phones to a smartphone and allow them access to the internet for the first time. Familiarity could also be addressed with internet promotion, education campaigns, similar to those being run for internet users as well. Non-users could be reached using very similar strategies, but would obviously have to be reached in offline settings like out-of-home or TV. Promotion and education could work to deepen this knowledge and awareness of not just what the internet is as a concept, but how it can benefit them personally, why they should be getting online, highlight the use cases and the real-life examples. Promotion of skilling and training programs that address these concerns and any issues they have for accessing the internet could also be really helpful. Like an example, India's Internet Sathi. It's a support mechanism of where to start in the online world, what devices to use and where to find information. I'll now hand over to Atif, who will be taking us through Pakistan's journey to digital. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Leah, for the fantastic insights about internet adoption in Pakistan. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Atif Awan. I'm the founder of Indus Valley Capital, an early-stage VC fund investing in Pakistani startups. Prior to that, I was VP of Growth and International at LinkedIn. And I'm super excited to be here today to talk about internet adoption in Pakistan, startups and VC ecosystem, how the three interact, and what trends are emerging. Now, some important context before that. Pakistan is a really, really large country. It's the fifth largest country in the world. That's more people than Vietnam, Kenya, Argentina, and Saudi combined. Those are some of the markets that global capital markets are quite excited about, and only recently have they started realizing how large Pakistan is. Not only Pakistan is large, it's also very young, with median age being just under 23 years. And what that means is you have 130 million Pakistanis under 30. That means you have more Gen Z and younger people in Pakistan than even in the United States or Indonesia. And why does this matter? This matters because for the next 2 decades, every person retiring from the workforce will be replaced by 3 young people entering the workforce. And these people are more educated, more tech savvy, and they'll have higher productivity, and they also like to consume more. And what this does is this creates a huge tailwind for Pakistan's economy and generate demographic dividends for the next 20 years. And in addition to that, when you look at an economy, it's very important to understand the socioeconomic composition of that. So Pakistan has a healthy middle class, which is expected to grow to 122 million by 2025. And if you look at the period between 2015 and 2025, there are only two countries that will see more people entering the middle class than Pakistan. That's China and India, obviously much larger countries. But outside those two, Pakistan is expected to see the largest increase. And this is middle class is the bedrock for the economy. And as startups create new products and services, they are actually targeting this large growing middle class. And increasingly, Pakistan, as you heard earlier today, is getting connected with internet at a very rapid clip. So right now, there are 103 million internet subscribers in Pakistan. And this data is from Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, which tracks it rigorously across multiple telco providers. And we're seeing phenomenal growth. And more than half of Pakistan is now using internet. And as you saw earlier, 85% of them are using it every day. Now, the growth here has been so phenomenal. If you go back just 8 years ago, there were only 3 million people connected to internet. So we've seen a 35x growth in just last 8 years. And the reason that growth is happening is that mobile internet data has become really, really affordable in Pakistan due to the strong competition between different telcos. Here you have some data from ITU comparing internet rates in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Iran. So some of the regional competitors, in any way you slice it, whether you look at it in absolute dollar basis or PPP dollars or as a percentage of GNI per capita, Pakistan actually compares favorably and is one of the cheapest internet offerings in the region. And because of that, you're seeing that mobile internet usage, it's doubled or close to double, every year for the last 4 years. And in part, that's because of cheaper data plans. In part, that's because of more startups are creating localized content, localized products and offerings. Now, if you put all of that together, what we have is a very nice flywheel between internet, startups, and venture capital. When you have growing internet usage, that encourages more VCs to take a bet on Pakistan, and that also encourages more startups to build products and services for this growing connected population. So growing internet drives both of those things. But then what's awesome is that more VC coming to the market actually encourages even more founders to go and build startups because they can rely on follow-on capital being available. And that in turn, having more startups encourages even more venture capital. So you have a nice feedback loop there. And as you see increasing VC investments in more startups, that actually makes internet more valuable for users. So if you go back 5 years ago, one of the reasons there were not that many internet users was there were fewer things in the local context that you could do in Pakistan on internet. Now there are a lot more, from ordering groceries to booking a ride to booking tickets. Anything you can imagine, everything is coming online very quickly. And COVID has been a huge accelerant of that adoption as well. What that does is it further grows the internet, completing the cycle, which then generates even more VC and more startups. And just to give you a sense of how that's playing out recently, Pakistani startups have been raising a lot of capital, and across different verticals, you're seeing many startups raise significant rounds. So here you're seeing Pakistani startups that have raised more than $1 million in recent years. And not surprisingly, similar to other economies, you're seeing a lot of e-commerce, both on B2C side and B2B side. You're seeing fintech as a big vertical, drawing a lot of capital towards building challenger banks, payment rails, building credit and lending solutions. Freight is a big market. Travel, despite COVID, has continued to do reasonably well and drawing some investments. And then health and fitness have been a major beneficiary of COVID because they moved online. So both pharmacy delivery, telehealth, we've seen a lot of investments coming in Pakistan. And then there are a lot of other verticals that are emerging as well. Just to give you a sense of how fast and explosive this growth has been, 2017 and 2018, barely any VC capital was coming into Pakistan. Things started picking up in 2019, in particular because first round capital, that the largest Series A at the time in Airlift. First round is an incredible investor, early investors in Uber, Square, Notion, one of the top early stage VCs in the Valley. This was their first investment in Asia for over a decade. So it made a lot of people pay attention to the market to see what's happening in Pakistan. And then Process came in, led a Series B of Baikia. And 2020 was, another good year, seeing between 60 and 70 million in VC capital. But 2021 has been really, really incredible. Already 100 million plus in capital raised, including Kleiner Perkins investing in Tajer's recent round. And we're expecting that this year we are on track for 230 million plus in VC capital being invested in Pakistan. And that's more than last 5 years combined. So we're seeing some really incredible growth in the VC and startup ecosystem in Pakistan lately. And it's not just the amount of dollars that's coming in, it's the kind of investors, which includes some of the top investors across the globe who are investing in Pakistan. So I mentioned first round, I mentioned Kleiner, but there's Process, there is GFC, which has multiple investments. YC has been very active. And then companies like Stripe, Visa, Flexport, they've also been actively investing in Pakistan lately. And that is somewhat different from what happened in the MENA region, where the startup ecosystem took off much sooner, but a lot of the capital tended to be local capital. But in this case, we're seeing a lot of global capital, particularly US funds coming in. And that's primarily on the strength of Pakistani diaspora in Silicon Valley and elsewhere in the US. Just so to recap, what's happening in Pakistan is super exciting. It's a very large country, 220 million population. It's a very young country and has a growing middle class, 120 million by 2025. Internet usage has recently hit a critical mass in Pakistan with more than 50% of population connected and a lot of them using it every day. And what that has done is it's attracting venture capital and startup founders to the market, which is creating a very nice flywheel between internet startups and VC capital, where growth in one is actually driving growth in the other two, which in turn drives growth back in the internet usage. And as a result of that, 2021 is going to be a blockbuster year, expecting to see 230 million plus in venture capital funding in Pakistan, which is more than the last 5 years combined. Now, looking forward, we expect this momentum to continue because some of the early success stories like Airlift, Baikia, Bazaar, Tajer, Finja are going to continue to do well. We expect they're going to raise more capital, and that's going to draw more founders, more VCs, and create more value for Pakistani internet users. So pretty exciting things to look forward to. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Up next is James Lang from Google.
Thank you, Atif. Hi, everyone. I'm James Lang, and I lead the Google Customer Solutions team across Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, and of course, Pakistan. I'm very excited to be with you here today to discuss the digital landscape in Pakistan, and specifically how Google's products fit in and what opportunities they create for marketers like you. The digital landscape in Pakistan is a rich combination of multiple products, platforms, apps, and more. Google, of course, plays a very important role within this landscape. In fact, Google alone contributes 7 products, each of which have over 1 billion users globally. From these products, I want to talk to you about the ones that are most important and most relevant to Pakistanis, which are YouTube and search. First, let's start with YouTube. YouTube has seen incredible momentum in terms of user engagement over the past year. In fact, the total watch time of YouTube in Pakistan has increased over 1/3 in just 12 months, from February of last year to February of this year. We found that YouTube, which is used by nearly 90% of internet users, is actually the most popular app in Pakistan for streaming music and for watching video and TV. Now, that may not be a surprise to you, but what is quite surprising and quite interesting is that we see that YouTube is not about entertainment alone. YouTube plays a much, much larger role, and we're seeing it emerge as a multi-purpose hub. So there is no question that Pakistanis use YouTube as their hub for entertainment. In fact, nearly as many Pakistanis listen to music through the app as watch videos. But it's also being used for much, much more. Pakistanis perceive YouTube as a social media platform and also use it to find information. That may be watching their daily dose of evening news, the latest cricket match, checking the weather in their hometown, or for learning anything from cooking recipes to advanced math tutorials. YouTube is emerging as a new hub of what we call infotainment. This is really becoming a preferred content source for Pakistanis. So why is YouTube so important, and why are Pakistanis using it more and more? What we've seen, which is quite interesting, is that 93% of online people in Pakistan who actually watch videos or stream videos or TV, they do so online and do so via a smartphone. So this indicates that YouTube has become an integral part of their daily lives because it's accessible in every moment and available to Pakistanis as they are on the go. In terms of entertainment on YouTube, it's not surprising to see that Pakistani drama is actually the most popular genre of content on YouTube amongst those we surveyed. Now, aside from Pakistani dramas, the top user genres included categories such as user-generated content and comedy, and do note that these were particularly popular among Pakistani males. So as you can see, YouTube has emerged as a true source of information and a true multi-purpose hub. Now, that may not surprise you, but what we find, which is quite surprising, is it's actually a very similar story with Google Search. Now, Google Search is also one of the top 5 apps and websites that is used in Pakistan, and it is emerging as a multi-purpose hub. You may think search is for information only, for answering questions that users pose, but it's so much more. In fact, Google Search is playing an important role in the e-commerce space. Pakistanis are using search to research and to purchase products online. Not only that, they are also using search to find out more about travel, for all sorts of information needs, even for entertainment. What we see between Google Search and YouTube is that apps like these that lean into this multi-purpose behavior and pair it with a clear brand purpose have an immense opportunity to build ongoing growth because they service a range of real offline needs within the online environment. For example, search and YouTube have the opportunity to bring to the surface a Pakistani's current information needs. In the short term, they can deliver e-commerce and news information, but in the long term, they actually help to facilitate deeper information discovery for our users. There's also a very clear overlap, as you've seen, between how people are using YouTube and how they're using search. Pakistanis are now using YouTube to search for information, and they're using search to watch videos, despite YouTube starting as a video platform and search starting as an information platform. We now see that both platforms are treated almost interchangeably to help our Pakistani users discover more information and meet their entertainment needs. With these new findings, it's exciting to see that Pakistan is now becoming more ready than ever for a big shift toward an e-commerce boom. The user insights I have just discussed will go on to create exciting opportunities for marketers in Pakistan. Given how Pakistanis are now using apps like search and YouTube more than ever, From traditional businesses who are looking to go digital for the first time to online-only brands who are on the cusp of a big opportunity, this is exciting for marketers across the board to position their brands more strategically against what their customers are interacting with every single day. So on that note, let's dive deep into e-commerce. Let me pass it over to Faraz, who will talk to you more about this topic.
All right, thank you so much, James, for that wonderful session, and welcome everyone to this next one. My name is Faraz, and I'm the industry head for performance clients, looking after the Pakistani market. Really happy to be here and to virtually meet all of you. I will be presenting today the section on the e-commerce boom in Pakistan. So let's look under the hood and see what we have. So starting off, I think, as you've heard in the previous sections, there are more Pakistanis online now than ever before, and they are using more and more online services and solutions. As a result of that, the overall digital population in Pakistan is growing, and the overall opportunity is quite significant. What we do see, though, is that it's still in its infancy. If you look at the overall online population, the number of smartphones in Pakistan grew by about 25% last year to, for the first time, cross the 100 million mark. We are now the 12th largest market globally by app downloads, which also grew by about 30% last year, crossing 2.3 billion app downloads in 2020. And also, as per the industry estimates, our B2C commerce GMV has now crossed $2 billion in 2020. But to put this in perspective and to add a bit more context, as we look ahead, let's look at Indonesia as a market, which is roughly about 20% larger in terms of population, and had a B2C e-commerce GMV of about $32 billion in 2020, which is about 15 times higher than Pakistan. We often hear industry analysts talk about how Pakistan is going to be the next Indonesia, and we totally believe that. But given the recent growth momentum in user adoption, we think e-commerce presents a significant opportunity for us to get there. And by continuing this momentum and by adopting better practices, we do have an opportunity to get ahead of Indonesia in the near future. So that's what is ahead of us as the e-commerce market in Pakistan. Digging a little deeper into the user side of things, we found that during the last 12 months, about 33% of the internet users actually made a purchase online in Pakistan. And about that, 18% are purchasing more than once a month, or even more often in some cases. Online purchasing is significantly more likely in higher SECs, for example, 45% in SEC-A and about 40% in SEC-B, just clearly showing that there's a higher propensity to buy online in metros and in sort of higher SECs than the lower ones right now. Looking a little further, a majority of the consumers who do purchase online find it easy. Most of them agree that online shopping is convenient, and they all agree that platforms do provide them personalized recommendations, and those recommendations are quite useful for the user journey. This suggests that those that are purchasing online are having a positive experience, and by expanding that pool and trying to get more users into that foray, we can delight users with the ease and convenience of online e-commerce as well. Just going further then, what we do see is many shoppers in Pakistan joined the digital economy during COVID lockdown. So COVID obviously had a massive impact on this digitization across the country, and e-commerce is no different. About 35% of those who have purchased online reported doing so in at least one category as a result of COVID, which is slightly higher amongst females at about 41%. This is also on par with what we have seen in other Southeast Asian markets. In fact, even in amongst some of the developed markets in the region. In a Kantar Google study last year on the economy in Southeast Asia, we found about 36% of the users were new users to at least one category, which were brought due to COVID lockdowns. Across all categories, about 27% of shoppers reported an increase in spending online due to COVID lockdowns. During lockdowns, shoppers reported a 95% increase in spending versus before lockdown, which was quite significant. However, this percentage has subsided back to a more normal 33% now, which could suggest that Pakistanis are returning to more familiar shopping habits post the ease of lockdowns in the country. However, we do see this, with the current situation and the lockdowns coming back, we do see these numbers shifting quite quickly in the context of e-commerce in Pakistan. Just moving forward, If you look at under the categories of where most of these purchases are happening, we see e-commerce is currently dominated by two key categories. That's food and beverages, as well as apparel or clothing in general, where about 85% of the shoppers have purchased in either of these two categories. These categories, especially food, could explain the regression in online spending as well once lockdowns were lifted. Perhaps during COVID lockdowns, these necessary food purchases were being made online, increasing the average online spend. But with the easing of lockdowns and restrictions, people are reverting back to offline methods of food shopping, like visiting the grocery store or going to a restaurant to have a bite. Other categories where we do see growth coming up from Pakistan is consumer electronics, kids and baby clothes, a lot of toys and education products, as well as jewelry, watches, and other sort of home goods and services, which are seeing significant growth in online purchase in Pakistan. Now, we're looking forward into looking more closely into the purchase journey. What we see is across all categories, shoppers are turning to both Google search as well as YouTube to help with their research. It is quite likely that these two platforms are complementing each other and therefore are being treated as multi-purpose hubs by users. As an example, Google search is used by about 45% of the shoppers, but we also see other Google products playing a complementary role in the purchase journey. In fact, when looking at search, Google reviews, and shopping together, we see about 56% of the shoppers are using at least one of these touch points during their purchase journey. So again, Google properties play a very significant role in terms of consumers finding products, discovering products, learning about new products, and doing their research before they actually decide to purchase a product online. Now, if we look at the food category, we analyzed also the various touch points to see what touch point shoppers were using in their research. This analysis shows us the number of unique or additional consumers gained by adding each touch point into the mix. So in all categories, we saw that word of mouth has the greatest unique reach in Pakistan, with search playing a supplementary role and other platforms following suit. What that leads us to believe is that in the absence of trustworthy or helpful information online, Pakistanis seem to rely on word of mouth recommendations a lot more. However, once they receive recommendations from their friends and family, they then go online to research and validate online before purchasing. So the opportunity there for all platforms is to try and fill the information gap as much as possible, provide more trustworthy or helpful information online, and assist Pakistanis on their purchase journey online as well. So that's something that we can all take back and work on as e-commerce platforms. The other thing that we see in Pakistan a lot in terms of research is YouTube, and YouTube rising as a research touch point. Nearly 38% of the shoppers use the platform to research products before they purchase. This includes everything from watching unboxing videos to learning product reviews to seeing how to use a product to also seeing all the negative feedback of the product. And we see this increasing quite significantly, by the way, for shoppers who are 35 years or older. So about 44% of those shoppers in those categories use YouTube to research online versus 38% on the overall front. So again, YouTube plays a very significant role, has been playing a more significant role year by year. So we're seeing this number grow, and is becoming now a very strong part of the purchase journey for shoppers in Pakistan. So finally, looking into the online behavior and how it's set to continue, we see that online shoppers mostly want to continue using online platforms and believe online shopping is the way forward. About 2/3 of those purchasing online agree that they will continue to purchase online even after COVID, once the lockdowns are over, once they're able to go back and start offline purchasing if needed. Half of the metro online shoppers plan to purchase food online in the next 3 months. So again, that is a habit that seems to have been built and seems to be here to stay with our consumers, driven by COVID, but should stay post-COVID as well. We also see that once consumers who have made their first purchase online, they seem to be convinced and seem to enjoy the benefits, and therefore more likely to continue using online services for purchasing products. What we do see also is that the same can't be said for those who are not already participating in e-commerce. So those who haven't yet purchased online don't seem to feel strongly either way. It's quite possible they simply don't know or haven't had the opportunity to learn more about the ins and outs of purchasing online. But this initial barrier could be addressed by very simple education and awareness around the ease, the benefits, and the convenience of online purchasing. Basically, the factors that bring those who are online there and who are keeping them there as well in the first place. So this would lead to increased uptake in e-commerce among those who aren't already purchasing online but are internet users and are using other platforms, for entertainment, for education, as well as for messaging and social purposes. There's something for the platforms again to take away with. So what does this really mean for us, right? For the Pakistani e-commerce ecosystem, future growth relies on two key parts. The first one is how can we bring new users to enter the e-commerce market? How do we attract the ones who are on the fringe, who are at bay, who are unsure in exploring online shopping for various reasons? And the second one is encouraging cross-category purchasing across the current online shoppers. So we know that there are two very large categories where most of the online shopping is happening. How can we convince those consumers to move away from those categories and also start buying other products that are available online? So of the twofold opportunities for continued growth in e-commerce, I think encouraging cross-category purchasing will probably be the lowest hanging fruit for our platform, but it won't be possible without increased offering from retailers. Whilst B2B strategies could focus on increasing retailers' ability to sell online, I think B2C strategies could work in parallel to increase consumer confidence in buying a wider range of products online. And further realizing e-commerce benefits around ease, convenience, and personalization, the same benefits that are keeping users engaged in e-commerce in the first place. Working together to increase both supply and demand in parallel would help to build sustained growth and create greater depth of e-commerce penetration beyond the high SECs and metro locations. And finally, providing more helpful information, easy to use interfaces, and a convenient and helpful reverse logistics process will help reduce trust deficit that seems to be keeping the users at bay. So if I was an e-commerce platform in Pakistan right now, these are the things I would look at in trying to fix to grow e-commerce even further in the country and continue the growth momentum that we are seeing due to COVID. And so that brings me to the end of my section. We will now hear from Amar from Daraz and Kehkashan from BeechTree, who will talk about how they have been serving customers online in Pakistan and their experiences around the e-commerce growth that they saw during COVID. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Faraz. And indeed, there were some very good insights in the e-commerce part that you've presented, and I'm here to build on that. For the audience, my name is Ammar Hassan, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Daraz. And it's a great time to be in e-commerce, especially in South Asia. Daraz operates in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar, and specifically in two of our bigger markets, which is Pakistan and Bangladesh. We're seeing some great organic growth in e-commerce. And I think COVID has been a silver lining for all the e-commerce platform around the world. Just to build on that, over the last year, we've seen a great growth in our monthly active users. The good part of that growth is that a lot of it is happening organically. Even in the advertising that we do, the cost per installs and the growth that we are having is very efficient. We are seeing lower drop-offs, which means people installing the app and inactive users in last 30 days going down. So, which is causing our monthly active users to grow. With that, traditionally in the past, whenever you increase your traffic through advertising, generally you reach out to users which are not very e-commerce savvy and you see your conversion rate going down. But this time around, last 3 to 4 months have been great in terms of conversion rate as well. With lockdown happening, a lot of people were forced to come into the e-commerce circle, which showed in the conversion rate on our platform going up as well. We're also working with the government as well as the brick and mortar store associations to ask them to have their online presence on our platform. As we are speaking, there are teams in the top markets in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad, which are bringing these traditional stores and opening their shops on Daraz so that they have diversification. Even if their shops are closed, their online shop is open. And for the users, they have all the assortment and all the items that they normally buy offline, and they can do the same online. Interestingly, the prepayment share is also growing. And this is a vital sign for any e-commerce market. How much of the users are doing cash on delivery compared to prepayment. How important it is for us, just to give you a stat, the gross to net ratio for all the cash on delivery order compared to the prepayment order is lesser. So that means there are a lot of wastage when our heroes go to deliver the order, there are chances that people don't receive it when they are cash on delivery. But in prepayment, most of the people and most of the orders are successful. So for us as a company, we really encourage prepaid orders, and for that we're seeing great growth. We're seeing double 100% growth in digital wallets, 60% growth in bank cards, and 1.3x growth in EMI. And easy monthly installment has been a feature on Daraz that has really had a hockey stick growth. People purchasing power, it was under the fire due to COVID, and they were prone towards buying in installment with all the bank partnerships that we have created. So that's how the payment landscape looks like on Daraz. I often people ask me what do people buy on Daraz and how are the category trends and what are the most sold items. So just to spend some time on it, we have a great diversity on the platform. There are more than 100 categories, and all sort of people come to buy different sort of things. Just to give you an idea, 35% of the people are interested in fashion and beauty, 30% in home and lifestyle, 26% in mobile and electronics, while 6% in grocery and 1% in digital goods. This is an order share. Obviously, in terms of GMV, mobile and electronic dominates. If you look at an L2 level, as in level 2 of categories, you will see that I have highlighted certain categories. This is in context of comparison with the pre-COVID year. We've seen growth in categories like health and beauty, kitchen and dining, laundry, furniture, decor, groceries, and these grow above our expectation. And there were other categories that we also saw growing, like gaming, indoor gaming, as people couldn't go out. Mobiles and tablets normally grew at its own pace, and it was interesting to see categories like charity and donations increasing. We work with more than 20 top NGOs with the likes of ED, TCF, Shaukat Khanam, and Indus. And we also saw a lot of people participating in helping people in tough times. So great to see that trend as well. Moving forward, I've made a leaderboard in order to have more insight on what people are buying. Interesting stuff too. If you see health and beauty, the top 3 most bought items were hair straightener, hair iron, facial hair remover. And with the salons closed offline, a lot of personal hygiene and taking care of yourself happened at home. And we can see the trend looking at the most bought items in certain categories. Certain category really stood out, like grocery. Fresh vegetables, cooking oil, powdered milk, diapers in mothers and baby, air conditioner, refrigerator. All of these were things that people bought a lot. Fashion was something as a surprise as well. The women were buying embroidered kurtis, hoodies, and men's jacket in the last winter season. Was really a volume driver. So that gives you a feeling that what people are buying in which categories. Moving on, with all these things and customers and buyers being a very important pillar on Daraz, sellers are also very important. Our business is segmented into Daraz Mall and Marketplace. Marketplace being all the offline sellers in bazaars and market, and Daraz Mall, where you can find all the genuine 100% original brands from the company itself. In Marketplace, we've seen great growth, 52% growth in our overall seller base, 24,000 new SMEs listed on Daraz, and 43,000 new sellers signed up on Daraz last year. This was also due to the seller stimulus program that we introduced. We waived off commission for 2 months and encouraged people to come and sell online. With that, the seller acquisition efforts were also boosted with the excessive promotion of Daraz University. We're doing some great things to educate people on how to sell online. How to sell online as a keyword is a top driver keyword on Google as well. So that we've seen growing over the last year, showing how people have now been opened up to selling online. While the influx of sellers are good, we have identified working with research agencies that one of the top barriers in terms of e-commerce adoption is trust. And for that, we have delisted over 5,000 sellers last month. And overall, the vision of Daraz is to create a platform where great sellers sells great things on great prices. And this is where we are focusing on moving into the second quarter for Daraz. So this was something really important for us on how to maintain and build trust on the platform. Just moving forward to let you know how we were kind of shaping up in terms of building the e-commerce sphere in Pakistan. We have four big focus. One is product, where we are going back to basics, using advanced technology to fix our search on the platform. We're also using machine learning and AI with the Alibaba engineering team to increase the personalization of platform, to have a great matchmaking in terms of what the buyer wants. Pricing is something where we are investing in terms of human resource as well as a lot of on-ground effort, so that what you find on Daraz is actually market competitive. And customer experience, both pre-purchase and post-purchase, is something that we've really invested heavily on, and you'll be seeing great differences in the next few months to come. For us, category, there would be two important battles, which is grocery and fashion. Grocery space is really heated right now, with a lot of players coming in to deliver in really quick time. Where we are playing as in terms of grocery is that we want to become an alternative of your monthly grocery shopping needs. With the type of assortment that you have on Daraz, you won't find it anywhere on any other online platform. So that is where we want to focus in terms of big cart building. Fashion is something that we would be doubling down. There are a lot of new players and new bigger brands that we are onboarding, so that people had all the best choices in terms of fashion brands that want to shop. In terms of engagement, since the traffic is increasing and we want to keep them engaged, we will be launching our points program and introducing one of its kind, a new tool which is called Daraz Live. It would be shoppable commerce. You can see videos and shop there and then. In South Asia, we are seeing that it's growing really rapidly, and we're expecting the same adoption here in Pakistan as well. But out of all of these things, I think one important thing that will matter single-handedly, very important, is the brand reputation and trust, and that's what we want to create and build upon. We would be going for a new brand identity launch in coming few months. Not only that, we have done really aggressive efforts in terms of educating people on how to shop, see customer reviews and ratings, seller ratings, and then chat with the seller. Part of the responsibilities obviously lies with the customer, as we are taking our side of responsibility in terms of maintaining good seller base. But overall, I think working above the upper funnel would be important, creating new markets as there are new people coming onto internet. I think that would be important. So that's how I see e-commerce in Pakistan in coming year, and really excited to see the boom. And we're all ready, and hope you guys are. Take care, and I will rally it on to Kehkashan, who's from BeechTree, and she will tell you how specifically fashion is growing online. Thank you.
Thank you, Amar, for the amazing insights. Hi, everyone. My name is Kehkashan Raza, and I am the COO at HKB Retail, the parent company of BeechTree. BeechTree was introduced as a versatile high street wardrobe solution in 2010 for young, inspirational, and free spirited women who are willing to make a difference. The gap was identified by HKB, the parent company, when there was not much being offered in pret category. Our team's creativity and dedication since 2010 has helped the brand grow in terms of the number of stores and product categories. The brand that started off with selling Pret alone is now offering various product lines, including unstitched and fashion accessories. We present ourselves as a brand for the masses because our perception revolves around the fact that fashion is for all. Each product category offers outfits that are chic yet practical. With quirky designs and catchy color palettes, we strive to inspire young girls to maintain positive self expression and fear no one while following the latest trends. BeechTree launched its e commerce business in 2015 with Shopistan. Although the sales were very promising, but since the company was in a high growth phase and had signed up a lot of new locations, the focus at that time was the brick and mortar stores. Over a period of time, we invested in our in house resources to work closely with Shopistan, and the results have been phenomenal. We aim to continue growing by bringing in innovative ideas and creating a happy shopping experience for everyone. In 2020, BeechTree, just like hundreds of Pakistani businesses, faced an unprecedented business challenge due to COVID 19. As the government imposed lockdown, retail foot traffic dropped to an all time low. What made the situation worse was that the logistics situation in Pakistan was not supporting the shift to our e commerce first strategy. 94% of freight traffic in Pakistan is reliant on roads, and intercity deliveries were causing a delay of up to 10 days after payment. There were many other challenges as well. The biggest challenges for us, as it would have been for any retailer, was to manage the inventory stuck at the shops. Was recalling the stock an option? Did we have enough capacity in our warehouse to stock the product efficiently and that too in a limited period of time? If we shifted our entire business to our e commerce channel, did we have enough manpower to fulfill these orders? What about couriers? Overtime? Costs? What about customer care? We had been running a relatively lean operation, and all these decisions required hiring and training people, and that too during the COVID lockdown with people working from home. What saved us was teamwork. Other departments like retail operations, production, and quality staff pitched in to fill the gaps wherever required. It was a stressful yet rewarding time for all of us, resulting in no pay cuts or job losses for even a single employee in the company. The last but not the least challenge was that of technology. We decided to take a three-step approach to make our shift online more effective. The first step was to improve our website. We improved our website loading speed by up to 30% and even high traffic. With the help of Google Site Speed, we focused on a mobile first site experience. We then set up separate landing pages for different cities, customizing them based on the preferences of audiences in that city. Information like luxury Pret in Islamabad performing better than casual ready to wear, and in Karachi, the opposite happening, made us focus on our customer needs better. With logistics being a stumbling block, the second step for us was to take our supply chain to an omni-channel approach with the help of our agency, Shopistan. We started liquidating our inventory across its 25 closed stores across the country, along with the warehouse stock. The results were instantly uplifting. We were able to reduce delivery costs by 18% and reduce order cancellation by 46%. Average delivery time for BeechTree reduced from 5+ days to now 2 to 3 days. The final stage was to find ways to connect with our customers at every stage of their purchase journey online. We worked with the team at Google to create a full funnel strategy with a plan for awareness, consideration, and the purchase stage for our buyers. We at BeechTree believe that the learnings from this experience are applicable to any Pakistani business that is making the shift online. As for why the learnings are important, I let the numbers speak for themselves. In the short time that it took to implement these changes, we at BeechTree saw a 329% more conversions, now at a 25% growth in ROAS. Here are the top 3 learnings that we had from this experience. First, be discoverable. More people than ever are looking to buy online. Being present on search can be critical in helping gain customers, but being present alone is not enough. Having a smooth website and delivery experience will ensure that your brand is able to close the sale. Second, it's important for a brand's longevity to be able to attract new potential customers. These customers are actively looking for products to buy across YouTube and Google Display Network. Reach out to them first. Lastly, don't let go of your loyal customers. Continue to delight them with customized experiences online using remarketing tools. All this will allow your brand to successfully make the shift to an online first brand. Thank you. Over to you now, Amna.
Thank you so much for these wonderful insights, Kehkashan. It was inspiring to hear about BeechTree's journey through COVID. And with that, we come to the end of today's session on Pakistan's digital journey. Before we end the session, I'll quickly summarize the 5 key takeaways from today's session. The first is that the internet is a great place to reach and engage with Pakistanis, with now 54% of them currently connected and growing. This is particularly true for those in urban areas, males, and people under 35. The second is that it can take some time for users to explore outside of what they know. There is an opportunity to educate and deepen awareness of the possibilities online beyond just social interaction. Education initiatives could assist in developing confidence and skills to establish users. The third is that multi-purpose apps are the future of digital growth in Pakistan. Just in the short term alone, they can deliver e-commerce and news while helping to facilitate deeper information discovery. The fourth is that of the twofold opportunities for continued growth in e-commerce, encouraging cross-category purchasing will be the lowest hanging fruit, particularly for small and medium-sized businesses. It would be encouraging to connect with consumers both online and then accelerate their growth. The fifth is that finally, we need more growth. We need to continue the momentum of this growth online. This can be made possible through offline campaigns promoting the internet, especially to show how the internet would personally benefit Pakistanis. And with that, thank you for joining us, folks. We hope you find these insights useful in both your careers and your businesses. We'll definitely share the report and the findings with you from today's session. In the meantime, in case you haven't done so already, please do share your feedback with us. Please let us know what you liked and what you think we can improve on for future sessions. Thank you.